Peace unto you. I am Nadiie. We're very grateful for your presence. What's coming through today is show up as you are. Show up. It's very, very simple. A lot of people want to make spirituality very complex when it's not. Fundamentally, you can break down that which is what people call the way or Christ consciousness or the I am presence or divinity. Whatever term or label serves for you, just don't make it complex. You can break it down into 3 steps. The first one is just be very loving. Just that's it. Shift your perception on what love is. Know that you are one with all people. And oneness is another aspect of love. That's why it's not a part of another step. See, people, they say, I'm going to love, but they won't be unconditional in their love. All right? That's the next level of love. But then the people that are unconditional in love, sometimes they refuse oneness. Oneness is a whole different type of love. It's like it's a tier higher if you still want to perceive a higher and lower scale. In truth, there is no higher, lower, left, right, down, up. But for the human brain, we're going to say higher, or a different tier, or frequency. All right, oneness brings forth a frequency of perfect love. The fact is, if I see myself in you, and I actually love myself, and I am in the presence of self-love, causing harm to another is causing harm to myself. And if I love myself, I'm not going to cause harm to myself, which is you. I'm not going to cause harm to myself because I love myself. All right? Shift your perception on what love is, okay? That's just step 1. That's it. Step 2, this is where it starts to get a little bit more challenging for some people that are still bounded to this world with deep-rooted chains of generations, and they feel like they are experiencing a life that's happening to them rather than for them. It's essentially losing descriptions on the world that you think you know. All right? We say this all the time, but the reason why these sentiments are consistent is because it's the truth. All right? Losing descriptions means stop calling walls walls, stop calling this hair, stop calling this a body, stop calling those people, stop calling that grass, stop calling that tree, stop calling this a couch. Lose descriptions of the entire world, because everything outside of yourself doesn't exist. See, the Christ Force always says, when you stand in the expression of the I am, know that to fully embrace Christ consciousness, one must rid themselves of the purpose the outside world brings forth. So if your outside world still has a purpose, then right when you're on the precipice of enlightenment or Christ consciousness, the ego will pull out its Joker card and say, oh, what about your kids? Oh, what about your dog? Oh, what about your house? Oh, what about your neighbors? You might have got everything else good. I'm talking about you forgave everyone. You probably got shot. You forgave the person that shot you. You was on a whole different frequency. But you still attach yourself to a purpose as it pertains to the outside world. So when you think everything is good in 2 shoes, your ego is plotting, because we know time isn't real. So when you are resonating at a very, very high frequency, the ego will shift out of time to see what you're going to do in your quote-unquote future. Now, time isn't real, so we're just using these terms for human transcription. Everything is pretty much parallel. But your ego will shift and see what you're going to be doing in the near future. And if it's that which is the I am, it's going to come back with a solid plan. And a lot of the time, you could get everything right, and then the moment you get the light beam come to you, say, let's come to Christ conscious land. All right, the door is open. Oh, all of that. My kids, oh no, my mother, my family. If they're all you, then once you step in, they step in. But the ego doesn't want you to see that. Well, see, what people call the devil, I call the ego. Because the devil is just a manifestation of what you created. I was talking to somebody earlier about this, and it struck a nerve. But essentially, you either believe God created all, or you believe God created nothing. Okay, that's question number one. The branch off of that question is, do you believe God is unconditional love, or do you believe God is hate? Alright, once we move past that, because most people are going to say God created everything, God is unconditional love. Alright, okay, so the last branch to this line of questions is, do you believe you're made in the image of God? Yeah, they say that in this, religion, that religion. Okay, so you just affirmed something so powerful, so much in the presence of the I am. You may not know it consciously, but you just have affirmed that God is unconditional love, God created all, and God is within your image. Okay? If that's the case, if God is unconditional love and God created all, then that means everything that Source has ever produced is unconditional love. That's just simple. 1 to 1, 2 to 2. It's very simple. If a being is unconditional love, and they only are unconditional love, then everything that comes from them is love. So how is this world full of hate if Source is unconditional love? Oh, if you piece the puzzle together, Source created us. We're the unconditional love. We are that which is Source. And Source within our creation gave us what some people call free will, what I call divine will. And accompanying that is the ability of co-creation. So Source created us in its unconditional love. And with our ability of co-creation, we created this, which is not love at all. It can be love if we and the collective consciousness deems it so. People are shifting into that. That's where you have so much of the new earth, this, that, and the third, all of that. So it's shifting that way. But this world was not created by God. This world was created by God's creation, us. So the devil, if the devil is hate or all of these evil entities or all of that, that's all you. That's manifestations of your stuff. If you see hate in the outside world, that means there is hate within you. This is coming from a person that got targeted by these quote-unquote entities and evil spirits that wanted me to do their bidding and all of that extra stuff. That was because I still had hate within me. I got to a specific level of frequency. I was like, oh yeah, I'm lit. But I still can get triggered. If you're still getting triggered, then that means there's still stuff within you that you have to bring up. And so the fact that you're seeing something that is other than love lets us know, yeah, you're not as spiritual as you thought you was. So let's deepen this expression of the I am. So show up, alright? Show up as you are. It's very simple. There is nothing for you to do in this world. A light being told me to come to Christ consciousness months ago. Like, step through the portal and everything. At that point, I was kind of shook because I was like, I feel like I still have stuff to do. I was still battling with certain addictions, and I'm like, y'all still want me to come? And it was like, yes, you reached this frequency, and we know that time isn't real. So because you reach this frequency, there's a parallel version of you that's resonating on the point of that which is a master. So even though this version of you isn't, we know that that version of you is. And since there's no distance, time, or separation, that version of you is the now. So come on, baby, come back home. And I was like, oh. Woke back up. And we tried it again. And every day is anchoring. So show up as you are. And know that there is no place you have to go to. There's no distance anywhere. You're already home. And with that, I say welcome home.
Rico got that fire, got that fire.
God, send me signs when the snakes are behind. Can be blind, I be needing you around. Can be slipping off the edge. All these people that I fed, ungrateful like I never been around. Tell them little hoes you can go. All these false claiming bros, waiting bros. Do you wanna catch around? This path is for my soul. All the liars you can go. All I need is $1 and some Hopi. And the hoe was never in my blood. Went from the quiet type to now your hoe is showing love. She know I'm not a scrub. I'm all about my busyness. Third eye open, getting all these bitches with me immortalized. I'm never for facades. Awareness always high. Even if the price is right, I